What if you could build an entire application, not by writing lines and lines of code, but just by talking to your computer? No complex syntax, no frustrating debugging sessions, just your ideas and a really smart AI. Well, this isn't some far-off future fantasy. It's a brand new way of building called vibe coding, and honestly, it's changing everything for developers.
So this term vibe coding, it was actually coined by Andrej Karpathy, one of the founding members of OpenAI. And the idea is just so simple and powerful. You basically describe what you want, in plain English, and a large language model just builds it. The code gets generated for you. You barely even have to touch the keyboard.
I mean, it sounds like pure magic, right? You just describe an app and poof, it exists. But here's the thing about this new kind of power. It can also create a whole new kind of chaos. What happens when it all goes completely wrong?
Because, let's be real, things will go wrong. If you don't have some kind of framework or structure, just going with the vibes can lead to some serious headaches and a whole lot of wasted time.
I mean, just look at this. This is a real post from a developer on X. 2 straight weeks of work, completely corrupted, totally gone, in an instant. This is the nightmare scenario. This is the very real risk of vibe coding without a safety net, and it's exactly what we need to learn how to avoid.
So, how do we avoid that disaster? How do you tame the chaos of the vibes? Well, it turns out it all boils down to 5 fundamental principles. These are the rules of the road that give you the structure you need to make this work. So, let's break them down. Okay, the very first principle is all about thinking. And it's not just about what to build, but how you think about the problem itself. Let's take an analogy. Say you want to build an AI that plays chess. You have to think on 4 different levels. First, the logical level. What is this? It's a game of chess. Then analytical. Okay, what are the rules of chess? Then you get computational. How do I actually translate those rules into code? And finally, procedural. Okay, how do we get good at this game and actually win? Applying that kind of structured thinking is the first big step to taming the chaos. Second principle, you've got to know your frameworks. Here's why this is so important. These AI models have been trained on basically the entire internet's worth of existing code. So you get way better results if you can just point it in the right direction. Tell it, hey, use React for the front end or use Three.js for the 3D stuff. You don't even need to know exactly how to implement them yourself. You just need to know what they are and what they're for. You're not the coder, you're the director telling the AI which tools to use.
All right, principle number 3 is an absolute lifesaver. Use checkpoints. Seriously, think of it like hitting the save button in a video game. By using a super common tool called Git, you can create these little snapshots of your project anytime you want. So, if the AI suddenly goes off the rails and breaks everything, and it will, you can just rewind back to the last good version. This isn't just a nice to have, it's a non-negotiable safety net.
Fourth, and this is a big mindset shift, you have to become a methodical debugger. Things are going to break. That is a 100% guarantee. The key is not to panic. Just calmly figure out what's going wrong and then present that problem clearly to the AI. Copy the entire error message. Tell it exactly what you expected to happen versus what actually happened. You've got to treat the AI like it's your super smart debugging partner.
And finally, our 5th principle, provide rich context. It's the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. The more high-quality information you feed the AI, the better its output is going to be. We're talking detailed prompts, maybe even a little product requirement document. Visual mock-ups of what you want it to look like are amazing. And especially, when things go wrong, give it the full error messages, give it screenshots. Don't just tell it it's broken. Show it how it's broken. Okay, I know that's a lot to keep in your head. So here's a silly little mnemonic to make it stick. The friendly cat dances constantly. That's thinking, frameworks, checkpoints, debugging, and context. All right, enough with the theory. Let's see how all this actually works in the real world. We're going to watch these 5 principles in action as we build a simple SEO analysis app, basically from scratch, using just vibes and our AI partner. So it all kicks off with this really clear, concise prompt. And if you look closely, you can already see our principles at work, right? It defines the goal, that's our thinking, and it provides specific details on the features, which is great context. This is the kind of quality input that leads to quality output. Okay, so the AI gets to work and whips up the first version of the app. We plug in a URL to test it and fail you. It doesn't work. This is a classic moment and you should absolutely expect it. It's time to put on our debugging hat. Now look what the user does.
They don't panic, they don't write code, they just identify the specific issue and give a clear, simple instruction in plain English. That is methodical debugging in action.
The AI takes the feedback, tries a fix, and it still doesn't work. Now, this is another one of those crucial moments. Vibe coding isn't always a one-and-done magic trick. Patience and just giving that iterative feedback is absolutely essential.
So the user just calmly points out the problem one more time. And this time, boom, the AI gets it right. The app works exactly as intended. This little back and forth perfectly shows that feedback loop between the human architect and the AI builder. So you've got the 5 principles down. You're building cool stuff with AI? Awesome. But how do you go from being just a good vibe coder to a truly great one? Well, it's all about adopting a professional mindset.
First and foremost, you have to think in terms of a minimal viable product or an MVP. Don't try to build your entire massive vision all at once. You'll get lost. Start with the absolute smallest core set of features to get something that just works. Then you can add more on top of that. Start small and iterate.
And here's a really simple but powerful way to think about your whole workflow. At any given moment, you are always in one of 2 modes. You're either implementing a new feature or you're debugging an error. That's it. When you're implementing, you're giving context and making small changes. When you're debugging, your whole job is to figure out what the AI needs to get unstuck.
And if you want to get really advanced with this, here's a pro tip. Create a rules document. Think of this like a master system prompt for your AI agent that's always active. You can put in rules about security like always enable CAPTCHA or cost control like rate limit all API endpoints. It's a way to make sure your AI is always following your own best practices.
You know, all of this leads to a really big, fascinating question for the future. As the AI gets better and better at doing the building, the how, our role starts to shift. We're no longer the coders. We're the architects. We're the vision holders, the directors, the debuggers. So what does it really mean to be a builder when you're not the one laying the bricks? That's the new frontier we are all just starting to explore.